A mysterious group seems hell-bent on capturing Nils and Ninian. Having failed, this group, the Black Fang, flees. The rumor has them traveling southwest. Lynn and her colleagues follow in hopes of recovering a lost heirloom. The Black Fang have made a stronghold of an abandoned castle in Caelin. Its dark halls are alive with shadowy figures. Alright, welcome back to episode 4 of Let's Play Fire Emblem, ladies and gents. It's officially time to go on our very first side mission, to which we are actually going to use it to level up quite a bit. Brief conversation between the gentleman on the right and the extremely powerful woman on the left. I'm actually very glad that she doesn't show up at this point in the game because, well, that wouldn't be following particularly good power curves in this case. You wouldn't, facing an upgraded unit at this point, you would stand literally no chance. Even a magic unit, your physical units wouldn't be able to damage simply because of all the defense they would have, and they'd be one-shotting you, so it's to our benefit that she's going to leave and leave another man in charge. Alright, so don't worry about it, we're recovering the ring, blah blah. These two really are worrying too much considering we already said we were going to get the ring from them. Alright, now here's actually some good advice in a cutscene no less. Kent advises us that if we draw the enemy through a narrow corridor, we can engage them in small numbers and stay relatively safe, and that's actually exactly true and what you want to do. If time is a concern, you can always rush them. That's actually, if you want to complete a level quickly and you think you can survive, that would be fine. But, in any case. So, we're going to be bringing Nils with us, but not Dorcas. We're also going to be bringing Lucius instead of Wrath, since Wrath is just completely without items, and having Lucius around is never really a bad thing. Another magic user is always helpful. Of course, he doesn't actually have any vulneraries at the moment, and Nils is vulnerary. I want to keep on Nils. If Lucius gets hurt, he can trade with someone else, but until then we should be alright. I'm not going to save, instead I'm going to change our formation up a bit here. Now, we have a thief here, and this thief is going to take the first turn to unlock that door, the second turn to unlock this door, and the third turn to steal that chest. So we've got to get over there and bust down that door so quickly that he cannot get to the chest. Also, there are going to be reinforcements coming through these stairs. You can just bust down the walls and take them on there, but I'm pretty sure all of the units that are going to be spawning are going to be melee units. So, if you just stick a magic user on the other side of the wall, they'll be able to get some easy experience. Alternatively, you can put Will there, since he can fire through solid objects, so long as there's at least a space between him and his opponent. Now, one of the disadvantages of being inside is that our flying units and our horsebound units are actually going to have slightly less movement, but that's a small price to pay, really, for still having the extreme movement that they have, as well as having them able to go and take out these enemies. So, I'm going to want a sword user off to the left. Matthew will do, since he's already level 4, fairly powerful. Urk is going to move up here and take on these enemies, since Lucius would be at a disadvantage due to the weapon triangle of magic. And then, what else do we have? We have Florina, who's going to be moving around here. I think she's probably just going to go help with these sword-wielding units eventually, but we've got to take care of this archer first. So what we're going to need to do, this wall only has 20 health, which means that with the assistance of Nils, so long as I have my unit... what should I do, actually? I think I'm going to have Will over here. Because although it would be helpful to have Nils in the area, Will can actually move up here and attack, I think. Is he close enough? 5 movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not close enough. That's unfortunate. Sane can definitely get there. Matthew could probably manage it as well. But I just want to be able to get Matthew within range of that wall so we can take it in a single turn. Then after Matthew kills this bandit, he's going to have to move in and steal from this chest. But not to worry, if somehow this thief does get there before we do, his speed is lower than Matthew's, so Matthew can steal the item back. Because it's possible, though I don't remember entirely, it's possible that when you defeat a unit, they will actually... oh, dang it. when you defeat a unit, they will drop the first item they've stolen or they've taken from a chest, but I don't remember if that's just this game, or if that happens in this game, or if that's just in Fire Emblem, the Sacred Stones. So we're going to go ahead and save and then start the fight. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, I guess he does retain full movement speed. So I could have actually switched Caelin and Will's positions, which would have helped out a bit in this fight. But not to worry, Caelin is going to be more than capable of taking on this unit all on his own. In fact, the only thing that we'll need Will for next turn is helping to kill that wall. Unless Caelin is doing over 20 damage. I don't think he is, but he just did 17. What's his... Oh, 17 is his attack, which means that the enemy merely had 1 defense, and I got an extra attack damage buff from... Oh, and Nils isn't within range of letting anyone move again. I could let Florina move again and have her start to attack the wall, but with the archer there, that would be a fairly poor idea. Instead, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to move Sarah in a little bit closer, and then I'm just going to have Nils play her song for no other reason than to get Nils some experience. And a lot of the prologue, since your characters in the prologue will actually be keeping their experience into the main game. So if, say, you have Urk at an extremely high level with 26 HP from the prologue, he will be that much more powerful when you finally reach Ellawood's portion of the game. And after you've beaten Lynn's story for the first time, you can just skip straight to Ellawood's story, and after you've beaten the game once, you can just use Hector's story instead. But this does have the disadvantage of you missing out on pretty much all of the experience that you would have gotten otherwise. So we're going to send Lynn around here. And Lucius is going to hang out by Urk just in case he needs a little bit of backup. Florina is going to be pretty much useless for this first part though. So with that, I think we're going to end our turn. Now this bandit has little to no chance against Matthew simply because he's so powerful at this point. And not really powerful, but just thieves have naturally high evasion due to their high speed stats, so it's just a matter of him dodging. Now the archer is going to try to kill Caelin, which sucks, but it's not something we have to worry about too much, as what we can do next turn... Oh wow, thunder magic. I didn't actually pay attention to that. That would have been a good thing to take note of. Thunder magic is a heavier tome, so it's going to be a bit more difficult for units to use, but thunder magic not only has higher damage than fire, it has higher crit chance, albeit at the cost of slightly lower accuracy. So, what we're going to do here, how much defense does this archer have? He has 3 defense. How much attack does Matthew have? 9. But the Armor Slayer could give him 3 more attack. Alright, so first off, Caelin is going to help kill this wall. That's really not going to be negotiable. Now, can Matthew move to attack that? No, he cannot. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Matthew move here. This will allow Nils to remain safe behind the wall in the case that somehow we don't kill this archer. Now, the bandit is still just sitting there, but we've got Florina right there, and she is probably powerful enough at this point to take him on. Worst case scenario, Urk is right off in the wings. But it looks like she is going to be able to take this guy. Yeah, there we go. 1 hit, 1 kill. 14% chance to miss, which is unfortunate, but considering she hit anyway, it doesn't really matter. Weapon level increased, always a good thing. Now, I could just immediately... Oh! Is his inventory full? It is. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to trade with Matthew really quickly, since I don't want him to have too many items. If he does, that would be extremely bad, because he wouldn't be able to open the chest and take what's inside. Now, he has an 86% chance to hit twice. Worst case scenario, he doesn't, and Sarah could take some damage, but Matthew's very accurate, so he gets that. And then this thief is going to come over and pick the door next turn, which is going to give us a clear shot to the boss, but more than that, it's really just going to give us the opportunity to get some extra experience. Now, Kent is going to be going up against this other unit with another Iron Lance. Both of them have fairly poor hit chances, but it looks like Kent is just good enough, and the other one's is just poor enough, so he'll get some EXP, but I'm going to give the credit for the kill to Urk. Fairly easy too, even if he misses one shot at 4% miss chance, he still has a second. If he misses that one, well, that just would have been... Well, I've had that luck before, so I can't say that's going to be completely unfortunate, but more HP and magic? That's always a good thing. Sorry, up to 13 magical attacks, so that's alright. And then I can send Lyn up to those sword users with Florina. That will be fairly helpful. Yep, there we go. The thief just unlocked the door. Now, the first time this happens, in the game, I believe. Oh no, the second time. The first time was in the level with Dorcas. The boss is calling reinforcements, but this being your first level indoors where this sort of thing happens, you're introduced to the fact that any stairs on the map can be enemy spawns. Now, an interesting fact is the note that if you put a unit on the stairs, enemies can't spawn there. So if you're having yourself finding some difficulty with, well, these enemies are in my way, but I can't really get them out of the way, what do I do? You can stick a unit on top of the stairs and just stop them from coming in, but that has the disadvantage of making things, well, not actually making things more difficult. It makes things less difficult, but it gives you the fact that you won't get any of the experience from it. Now, I can actually stick Sane within range of this thief without risk of his items being stolen, simply because his speed is the same as the enemy units, and you need a higher speed to be able to steal an item. Now we do get a hammer from this chest, which is a unique axe that is very low hit chance, but it does bonus damage versus armored units, not unlike the Armor Slayer. Think the Armor Slayer, but in axe form instead. Now I'm actually going to have Nils play for Matthew here, and I'm going to stick Matthew... where do I want him to go? Oh well, first off, he's going to get some experience and level up, which is good. Yeah, HP, luck, and resistance. Nils will have lots of HP and luck by the end of this, hopefully. But defense and resistance are always the good stats to pull. So how much speed does Will have? 6 speed. Oh, that's no good. And Nils has his vulnerary. I don't want Nils to die though, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to stick Matthew up here with an iron sword. He's going to be at a disadvantage if this unit comes up with the lance, but his accuracy is only 80 and he has a 28% avoid chance, which will be effectively an 18% avoid chance once everything is taken into account, but even if he takes a hit, he should be alright. He's fast enough to not take a second. Yeah. Hey, there we go. He missed anyway. So Matthew's also going to get 2 hits off on him because he's incredibly fast, so that nearly kills him even and gives him an extra level. Having a high level thief is never really a bad idea, and no speed level up, but HP resistance are good level ups. Now Lyn is actually a little bit like, well, she's somewhere between a thief and a Myrmidon, which is a unit we'll see later, in that, oh, I forgot about that. If the chest is open, the thief escapes. Okay. So now we have magic users, and that's actually a bit more of a problem, because those magic users have the chance to really mess up our day. Now, I am going to move Will a little bit closer here, and then I'm going to play a song for him. We do have a dark magic user, but that's not going to be as much of a problem, considering we have units with moderate HP and moderate to high resistance for the point in the game anyway. Nevertheless, I'm going to send Urk over just in case, and Lyn is going to, and Florina for that matter, are going to take this side of the map pretty much single-handedly. Kent is just going to sit over in that right corner from pretty much here on out. Now, those units are both standing on pillars, so going offensive against them would probably be a bad idea. Now, something to note is that although Florina's speed is high, she is going to have considerably less damage if you equip the Slim Lance at this point, simply because with 3 uses, if you have 3 uses like I do, she's actually going to not be able to use all of them. Or rather, she will use all of them, which means she won't be able to use all of her attacks. Because in Fire Emblem, weapon durability is paramount. If you only have 1 attack left on a weapon, but you would be able to attack twice, you only get the single attack. You do not get to use the other one. But since both of these guys are on pillars, I want to lure them off of them, because 20 avoid and 1 defense is nothing to scoff at. So I'll get Will to get the last hit here, give him a little bit extra EXP. Not quite enough to level up, but you take what you can get. Now, neither of these magic users can hit Will or indeed any of my units at this point, so I'll just kind of move them up. I'll keep Sarah on hand for healing in case anyone needs it. Apparently Matthew leveled up HP once, so might as well give her a little bit of experience. There we go. And I think that should just about do it. Enemy phase. And as you can see, Florina's attack is high enough now with the Iron Lance that she can realistically two-shot things. The only problem is the Iron Lance is heavy enough and Florina is not powerful enough that she often can't attack twice against fast units like these, oh, what are they, mercenaries? I think they're mercenaries. Now, one of the best things about magic users is that they're very low defense. Now, nonetheless, it seems that Matthew has completely trash attack, so that's not really as notable, but it is notable in the fact that even though Matthew is unable to do damage to this guy, the dark magic users, even having higher defense, won't really be able to stand up to a physical assault very long, which means that if I move other units in and I give them the ability to take care of the enemies beforehand, I won't really have to worry too much about it so long as I make the aggressive move. I don't know if that sentence made any sense. What I'm trying to say is that although the magic users are powerful, yes, they're extremely weak, and if you take them out first before they take you out, that'll be to your benefit. But if you kind of wait for them to HP and luck, that's a terrible level up. I mean, HP is great, but just luck otherwise? He's been getting some really trash level ups this run, which is kind of unfortunate. So Florina's going to move in here and get the last hit on that mercenary, which is going to enable her to nearly level up here. How much experience has she got? 71? That's not too bad. And then I can send Matthew up towards the boss. The boss doesn't move, so we don't have to worry about that at all. I'm going to have Sarah first heal Sane, I'm going to have Nils give her an extra turn, and I'll heal Matthew. So, getting her as much EXP as possible, and then, again, making sure that I use Nils every single turn. If you want a powerful bard by the end of the game, this is really what you have to do. Of course, that is to say that you can take the bard with you to the final level, but it almost gets to the point where you have to gauge whether or not you want to have one of your units twice or just two separate units. Because while you can have one unit move twice if they're extremely powerful, like say late game Urk, you can also have two different units on other sides of the map that you wouldn't really be able to have otherwise. Apparently this mercenary wants to attack Lynn, which is fine by me. More experience for her. And I've got two more chances for Sarah to heal by the end of this level, so what I'm going to do is, how far can Nils move? Nils can move there, so I'm going to move Florina here. I'm going to have Sarah heal Florina. There we go. Full health, lots of experience for Sarah. She's already halfway to level 3, so that's not bad. I'm going to have Nils play Sarah tune so she can move again. And she could actually heal Nils this turn, so it turns out 3 opportunities for healing. But no worries. What she's going to do instead is she's going to go ahead and heal Lynn this turn, and Kent is again just going to sit in that corner, because who cares about Kent, really? Alright, good. Now, how much damage can we do to this boss with Matthew first? Well, Matthew actually can strike twice if he uses an iron sword, but that is fairly dangerous since Bayard's wielding a steel sword, which has slightly lower hit chance but more might and more weight than an iron sword. Also a slightly higher weapon level. You need at least weapon level D to use it. Bayard is just going to remain, what am I trying to say, a bit of a difficult fight if you choose to engage him at melee range. Of course, if you're using Will, you can just use your iron bow and whittle him down piece by piece. And that'll get Will plenty of experience. Alternatively, you can use Urk, which... Where is Urk? Oh, jeez, I forgot Urk and Lucius at the beginning of the level. Alright, so I'm actually going to have... Who's at a lower level? Urk or Will? Will's level 6, Urk is level 5, so Urk is going to get the last hit on this boss. Which is going to... I think I can do that this turn, maybe? Oh no, because I've still got even more healing to do. First off, Sarah can go ahead and heal Nils, who will play her another song, and then she'll go and heal Urk, since he leveled up HP. Again, it's only 1 HP, but it's 11 experience for Sarah, and having a high-level cleric allows her to heal more each turn, and will allow you to keep your units alive longer. And then what I can do is just... I don't think the boss has anything worth stealing, so I won't send Matthew in for that. But she's very nearly leveled up. Very, very close. Oh well. That'll happen. Next turn, Urk's going to move in and kill the boss, and that will be it for this stage, I believe. Oh no, I guess he can't kill the boss in one turn. Unless Nils gives him a extra move, and he manages to hit again with an 88% chance. So the odds are in our favor, but I never really trust the odds being in our favor when it comes to Fire Emblem. This game will find those small opportunities to just make your life a little bit more difficult. Though I don't really think that'll happen now, considering it usually reserves those opportunities for when something is in mortal danger. Alright, so Bayard is dead. Urk gets another level. He's now level 6. HP, skill, luck, and resistance. Good level. Not magic or speed, which is unfortunate, but what are you gonna do? And there we go. Alright, so the Black Hand is a bit zealous. Or overzealous, if you will. They'll just pop poison as soon as you capture one of them. Just death before dishonor. Alright, and there we go. You get Ninny's Grace back. Or Ninnis Grace? I don't know. And we're going to move on to Chapter 8, Vortex of Strategy. All this strategy just getting sucked into a hole. Anyway, passing through Arafen and Cathelet, Lynn and her friends arrive in Caelin. However, Caelin is now under the rule of Lord Lundgren. Lundgren's henchmen lay in wait to assassinate Lynn. They wait for her approach and ready a special weapon. Oh, this is actually a fairly cool level. Bit dangerous for Florina, but I do like this stage. Danger approaches. And then all of a sudden, don't move. Unit gets into a little car and misses whatever they just shot. A ballista! Ballista are a bit of a special unit in that they're a single space on the map that you can put an archer in and have them wield long-range attacks up to 10 squares away, which is fairly important. Oh yeah, the ballista would target Pegasus Knights in an instant. It does count as a bow, so it deals special damage. Now... oh. Okay, so Matt's not going to be in for this level, which is unfortunate, but all that means is you're going to want to give his items to someone else. Not the lockpick, he can keep that one. Nor the iron sword, he can keep that one as well. I'm going to be using Wrath pretty much as storage until we get actual storage. Him and Dorcas both, since I don't really have any use for them. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Once you do actually get a storage caravan, things are a bit easier for you to get through, but until then... Now somebody had an extra vulnerary, I thought. I was sane, good. He'll go ahead and give that to Lucius. He'll actually trade the one vulnerary to Lucius, because I don't see him taking many shots. Now, we just want to change our formation here. We've got a couple of magic users off to the right. We got the ballista here, which has all of 5 shots. It doesn't actually tell you until the unit is in the ballista, and that's slightly unfortunate, but no real worries. Florina can actually fly south as soon as we get past this ballista, and as you can see, his range of attack is based only on the spot of the ballista. He can move any of these spaces, but he can't move and fire in the same turn. So long as Florina goes along the left wall here, and she avoids these 3 spaces, she should be alright to go over here and start taking out some of these enemies before we arrive. Also, there is a town over here. Bandits are going to be spawning in these mountains, and they'll try to take this town, but it has a fairly useful item, so we're going to want to get there first. Of course, we can't send Florina to get it because that would be well within the range of the ballista, and that would just not do well. We're going to send Sane over since he's becoming a bit more reliable than Kent on a regular basis. And we're going to send... Actually, scratch that. Urk is going to be going east, and Sane is going to be going south along with the rest of the party. Alright, and with that, I think that's about all we need to do. We'll save our formation here, and then on to battle. Alright, you can, as it's saying, you can, if you get to the ballista within the 5 turns it takes for it to exhaust all of its bolts. Actually, hold on a second, what's down there? Sword user? Alright, he's gonna equip his lance. And then Urk is going to move over this way. Now, the ballista will want to fire on Urk, as will both of these enemies, but since they can both attack this forest, as can the ballista, sticking him here will be alright. If he hasn't gotten the... what was it called? Angelic Robe. By this point, he'll only have 21 HP or 20 HP, so this could be a little bit dangerous, but since I made a tanky Urk, we really won't have to worry too much about that. Now, if I move Nils within range, this ballista is sure to fire on him, so I'm not going to do that. And where were the 3 spaces? Directly over from it, so this space to... This space is safe, as is the river, but nothing in between. River 1, 2, 3, here. So Florina's safe there. We can send Matt down. Will. Don't know why I called him Matt. He can actually go down into that forest, but I think I'm going to send him to the second forest there, after having Nils play a song for him. Because what I want to do is, I want to demonstrate the fact that we can use this ballista, which means I want to get Will to it before all the ammunition is used. Hence why Sane is hanging out nearby. He's going to pretty much bum rush this ballista, hoping of course that he does not die in the process. And if he doesn't, then that'll be fairly beneficial for us. Is that within range of the ballista? Oh dear, I just put Sarah within range. So time to demonstrate an interesting feature of rescuing. If you rescue a unit, and then take them and drop them, you can both rescue them and move them within the same turn, which isn't always useful, but it's alright if you just have to have someone get out of a slightly dangerous position. Alright, so Sword User is actually going to land on hit on Will, but since he doesn't have that much attack, he's not going to do too much to him. Now we do have a bunch of these units here. The ballista manages to hit Urk for 8 damage. That low physical resistance is starting to get to him, but the high magical resistance means that he's just going to be tanky as all hell, and he's fast enough to attack twice. This is one of the reasons that Urk is such an excellent unit. High hit chance with elemental magic, combined with the fact that he, even against a dark magic user which has high power and an advantage against him, he only takes 5 damage. He has such high resistances that he really doesn't have to worry about being hit so much. And then once you give him an angelic robe, you can just send him into a squad of magic users and not worry about him in the slightest. But as you can see, things are starting to get a little bit hectic down here. I'm going to send Sane over to the next... what do we have? We have some lance users and sword users, but that's it. So I am going to have Sane attack this first guy. Come on. There we go. Sane's going to take him out without too many issues. Standing on this forest is going to give him a lot of defensive bonuses when all these units come to attack next turn. However, I'm starting to doubt the fact that I could get to that ballista before my turns are up. Will is going to move over here so he's out of range of some of the units and fire with the short bow. 9 damage, another shot should take care of that melee unit. And then Florina can come down here, where there are going to be reinforcements from these 2 fortresses if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken though, so don't quote me on that. And Urk is actually going to move south to help out with the main force now, and Kent is going to move to secure that position. Now I'm keeping Lynn, Lucius, and Nils out of ballista range, as well as Sarah, until they can really start getting into the fight, simply because they are some of our squishiest units. Urk is not even... Sarah doesn't have enough magic to heal him. Gets speed, that's great. She can dodge if the time ever comes, but what she needs is magic. Magic would be extremely useful. Because the more magic you have, the amount that a heal staff heals is 10 plus the amount of magic you have. So the higher magic you... if you have an extremely high magic unit, you can heal most units to full... Oh, call up for reinforcements. Here we go. Is this when they start to appear from these forts? Alright, and as you can see, Sane takes pretty much no damage here, and despite his fairly low skill, he's still got a 93% hit chance with a spear, so he's doing fairly well. I think this might be a run where I actually use a cavalry unit, so who knows? He's proven useful so far. Let's see if he continues to prove useful. Now, the archer unit is going to attack Caelin without question, and if that cavalry unit is within range of Will, that's who he's going to attack as well. Yeah. Enemies don't like playing fair, or rather they're entirely playing fair, which is to say they're firing at anyone they can. And they're focusing their fire on specific units. The ballista focusing on Will. No damage. That is such a wonderful little tink noise. The no damage sound, if you will. Alright, Caelin is going to equip his iron lance. I think I'm going to get to this ballista with 2 shots left on it, which is good enough for me. Now, I could actually have... Would he have 2 attacks against it? He would have 2 attacks. Alright, so Urk is going to take out this horse unit and get a crit on it, no less, just because he wants to show off. That was entirely too much damage. But, what are you gonna do? Will is going to hopefully land this next short bow hit. Yep, there we go. Dead sword user. And now most of the enemies on the map are completely taken care of within, what is that? Just a couple of turns, only 7 enemies remaining. And with Kent visiting the village here. Oh, this is important, so pay attention. There are some weapons that don't follow the normal rules. A Lance Reaver. Alright, it's a sword that does well against lances, but it sucks against axes. If you give it to a sword user... Oh, yeah, there you go. Not everyone can use a sword of this caliber. I think it's rank D or C. Don't know for certain. Rank C. So, it reverses the weapon triangle, makes things strong against... Makes swords strong against spears, but weak against axes while you're holding that weapon. So, it's alright. I mean, it's never really a bad thing to carry around, but it's a matter of preference. If you give one to a sword user, yeah, that's never really a bad idea, but I wouldn't rely on them. They have fairly low stats compared to similar items, like might 9 instead of 5, but only a hit of 75. It gets 5 crit though. So, once you start to get to late game, it's really going to be a matter of, oh, there were units there. Okay. I actually didn't see that. It's alright though, Florina should be fast enough to just take these guys out in a single turn, and tanky enough that they shouldn't be able to kill her. I hope. Yeah, more than likely, she's just going to be able to take down these guys. I'm gonna have to have her use her vulnerary this turn, since she's not standing on a fortress and the enemy did get reinforcements. But this is plenty of good experience for her. HP and speed. It's not strength, but I'll take it. Alright. Now, the ballista and the bow user of all people are going to fire on Will. Will's going to crit against the other bow user. Immediate death. That's kind of the benefit of the short bow. It's a poor man's killer bow early in the game. Increased crit chance is extremely useful. So I'm going to have Caelin move up here and use his iron sword against this ballista wielder. So he is now out of the ballista, and I think it has 1 or 2 shots left in it. See, that's a great level up. Everything but defense, resistance, and I think that's all that can level up, actually. Everything but defense and resistance, yeah. It's a great level. So yeah, I think I might actually be using Caelin this playthrough, as I've said before, but it's worth reiterating. Because that is some incredible stat growth, and not anything that I'm quite used to, but there you go. I just noticed the armory off to the left. I'm wondering if they sell any steel weapons. If they do, it might actually be worth purchasing some. Nope, just iron weapons. I'll buy an iron bow for when Will runs out of uses on his. But other than that, I think I'm going to sell this 8-use iron sword just because I don't want to keep it around. Plus, Lynn has a full-use iron sword just sitting in the wings now. Now, she could heal Will or Urk. She's going to heal Will first. I think she only has 2 magic, so this should leave him 1 HP short. Yep, there we go. So she has 2 more opportunities to heal already, and if Caelin takes some damage from this... Oh, he's already taken damage. Yeah, no, I can definitely get Caelin some... Oh, they appear at the beginning of the turn. That wasn't just me. Oh god, I forgot to heal Florina. Oh, shit. Please don't die. Please don't die. Oh my god. Okay, that was incredibly lucky, and I was incredibly dumb. Florina not dying there is an incredible boon to me, since I do plan to use her, but my forgetting to heal my unit, that's the kind of danger that you can be in. I'm sorry about the sound quality there. I was actually speaking into my hands, because I really did not mean for that to happen. Oh, jeez. Way too close for comfort. So Sarah can heal up to this river, so that's where I'm going to move Florina. She's going to... Yeah, she's going to use a vulnerary and get healed in the same turn. She could move another space over or two, but I think I'm just going to keep her there. Now, when some more units appear, Florina should be able to kill them. They won't actually be standing on a fortress either, so that should benefit her. This might actually be a better position for her to fight in. Considering if an enemy's there, they can just move up there and attack, but they won't really be able to do anything. Alright, so I'm going to continue moving my units towards that ballista. Can Nils actually get over to Sarah this turn? He can, good. Maybe I shouldn't have used that vulnerary. I just had Sarah healed twice for more EXP. Oh well. I'm going to heal Will first, just because he's going to be going straight over to the ballista and staying there for most of the rest of the level. But here's the thing about ballistas, so far as I know, they don't actually go off of your attack value, they go off of the attack value of the ballista, which is usually pretty low. Which means that a ballista isn't really going to be able to do much against bosses like, say, a knight who has extremely high physical. Yogi. Okay, Yogi's got an Axe Reaver, which means that if Lyn comes in with the Manicotti, which is good against, it says infantry, but what it means is both people on cavalry and people in armor. It's essentially an armor slayer combined with a horse slayer. She'll be able to do incredible damage to him and have the advantage of the weapon triangle, so I'm actually going to have Lyn kill this boss, but not before I show off the ballista a little bit. I should be able to take out a single unit with it, probably, so... I mean, that really does go to show you that the ballista says, hey, you can use this, it's great, but for all of that talk, it really doesn't do much at all. Alright, Sarah's gonna keep healing up, though. Just because I want her to get extra magic. At this point, she's a pretty terrible healer. Level 3 and with only 2 magic is absolutely abysmal. So if she hopes to have any sort of place in our team later in the game, she's gotta start getting some better stat growth. But now, as you can see, you can ride in a ballista and immediately attack. It's got 2 shots left, and its accuracy is absolutely terrible. We can do some damage to Yogi. I think that might actually... No, it doesn't give you a special cutscene. But all 3 of these units have Reavers, just like up in the corner. So no matter what you send in here, it's going to be weak against something. Since this guy is strong against axes, though, and this guy is strong against lances, the best weapon to send in here first is a sword that is within range of these 2. Sorry, a bit hard to control. These 2, but not within range of this one. Which is why we're going to try to take him out with the ballista. One shot actually lands, which is good for us. Sarah's going to heal Sane first, and then get an extra turn and heal Urk. Nearly level 4, hopefully some magic growth on the way, but I can't say that for certain. Alright, and everyone is fully healed now. So we can just move Lyn in here, where I believe she'll be within range of these 2. Yes, but not this one? Correct, good. So, again, that's really what you want to do. That guy is going to heal on there, so the ballista is not going to be able to take him out overall. That actually did probably contribute to how bad of accuracy the ballista did have, the fact that they were standing on fortresses, and Lyn's showing off getting crits when she doesn't really need to, but with a 25% crit chance, I don't really think you can say that that was a particularly unlikely occurrence. Still, the Manicotti is more than powerful enough to just cut these enemies down. And for this last enemy, we're actually gonna send in Florina with her lance to take him out. I'm going to have Will fire on the boss because the ballista must have... Oh, there is a little bit of text. The ballista must have been taken. What's going on here? Somebody get that girl. And the ballista's broken. Will's still riding in it though, so if you choose to get out of the ballista, I think that takes a turn. Which again, just another reason why ballistas are useless. Of course, if the enemy has a ballista, then it's always going to hit, it's going to do incredible damage, and they're always going to target the most weak units of your team, which are somehow going to be within range of it. But when you have it, nothing's going to be within range, you're not going to be able to do damage, and the enemies will always dodge. But now there's only one unit left. He does have a sword, or a lance axe. The lance that changes around the weapon triangle. Let's go with that. Now, she can actually move within range to attack the boss this turn, so I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. The boss has no chance to survive and can't kill Lyn, so there's no danger to this whatsoever, even if she does take the 14 damage. But she didn't, so he's dead. And Lyn finally gets another level, level 8 if I'm not mistaken. Skill, speed, luck, and resistance. It's not terrible, but HP and defense and strength especially would have been wonderful. If that first ballista shot had hit me, I might not have survived, even though even my mage was able to survive a ballista shot without any problems. Alright, so Matthew was out spying, because hey, thieves do that too. So Lundgren is poisoning the Marquess, everybody knows about it, but nobody cares. And the people who were loyal to the Marquess have been killed, and an imposter has appeared claiming to be his granddaughter, so he's trying to spread the rumor that Lyn is incredible, while simultaneously poisoning his brother and taking the throne. So, if the grandfather doesn't survive, then we're pretty much ruined, because our word is worth absolutely nothing at this point. So, if we can find Eliwood, he might be able to help us out, maybe? And we're going to go backwards to Caelin. No, never mind, we're just going further into Caelin. So much for the plan to go backwards. Anyway. Lyn and her friends have been branded as traitors, pretenders to the throne. Lundgren has sent word of Caelin's neighbors warning them of Lyn's approach. He calls for reinforcements to put an end to the imposters, and these reinforcements go entirely the wrong way. If the other realms of Lycia choose to act, Lyn will never reach Caelin alive. Lyn places her faith in Eliwood and waits. Why we're placing our faith in Eliwood, I have no idea. Dude has shown up exactly once and brought a woman with him, so I guess that's claim enough to be trustworthy. Oh, I remember this level. This is actually a fairly notable level. So they are not, the neighbors are not going to interfere in Caelin's affairs, and that's what Eliwood was doing. He was making sure that the neighboring countries weren't going to send their own armies to stop us. But they're just remaining neutral. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Cool, so he heads out, no worries whatsoever, and then we got a bit of a level coming up, an interesting one that introduces a couple different mechanics. So, welcome to the fog, literal fog that acts as fog of war. If you can't see enemies, then they also can't see you. Or at least that's what the game claims, because in reality, enemies are going to be firing at you out of the fog of war all the time. They're going to be moving out, they don't seem to have any sort of interference from it. So you just gotta kinda roll the dice and see what pops up. So we're going to be heading south through General Eagler, that's actually an interesting name, General Eagler's estate, who naturally wants to stop us because he thinks that we're traitors to the throne and he doesn't want us to go through and blah 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 blah. Kent is not good enough with swords to use this yet, nor is Sane, so I would have to give this to a dedicated sword user like, say, Lynn. Now she has something to use against lances if need be, but with only the 15 uses on it, the Lance Reaver isn't going to do too much for us. Now, who else are we bringing with? I think this should be it for our team, actually. What I am going to do, though, is trade Matthew the Armor Slayer back, simply so he has something with a bit more attack damage. Once I finally get him a steel sword or something heavier, that'll be fine, and he'll still be able to attack twice most times. But that's really the only thing you need to worry about. Now, although you can see things just fine now, things are going to be a bit more difficult to navigate once the fog of war rolls in. You see only, what is this, 5 enemies on the field to begin with? But enemies are going to be repeatedly spawning out of every fort on the map. This one, this one, this one, some enemies around that one there, and the one in the woods. So, most of the difficulty in this level comes from the reinforcements. If you can somehow get a unit across the mountains, such as, say, Florina, to block these off, you can stop them from spawning, but it's usually just a bit easier to set the unit there and just wait for them so they can get plenty of experience when the time comes. But Eagler is a paladin, an upgraded unit, and he has 2 ranged weapons, a javelin and a hand axe. He doesn't have that much strength, skill, speed, defense, resistance. Actually, he has fairly good defense, and 16 attack with the javelin alone. So you have to be a little bit careful of this guy. In general, upgraded units are going to be the most dangerous. We're going to start seeing them a lot more towards the end of the game, but this is really the first we see of anything on the enemy team. Alright, now, thieves can see through fog a lot better than the other units. Everybody else gets a 3 square radius, I think thieves get 5 or 6. So he can see quite well, and here we go, friendly unit. Dude with a awesome bald look. Lord Wallace. Alright, so Wallace immediately joins us just on seeing Lynn. Because he is a true knight, would never allow a usurper on the throne, especially like Lundgren. And he's a pretty amazing guy. Unfortunately though, he's a pretty trash unit. And that's for one specific reason more than anything else. So, here's the thing. Wallace is a level 12 knight. Any of your units can get up to level 20. Level 20 is the maximum cap. Once they hit 20, once they hit 10, they can change classes up until they hit 20, when, after they hit the max level cap, they can go again. So, one of the main things about this is that you want to get all your units to level 20 before you class them up. That makes sure that they have the most stats, and then they can hit level 20 again. An effective level 40 unit is a lot more powerful than an effective level 30. But you get a slight boost to the stats immediately when you upgrade, so some choose to upgrade as soon as you hit 10, 15, 16. This is generally more of a newbie trap though, and not something you're going to want to do if you want to be able to take the end game easily. They really kind of play up the ability to change classes and use additional weapons here, but... Alright, here's the thing though. Why wouldn't you just upgrade all your units at level 20 immediately? Well, because you need an item to do so. In this case, Wallace needs a Knight Crest to be able to change classes. You've actually used that for both Cavaliers and Knights. They're usually shared between 2 units. The only units that break this rule are Pirates and Thieves. They get their own item all to themselves, which is later combined. So, Due to the tutorial, you're going to have Wallace use his Knight Crest. And that's it. You have to upgrade him at level 12, so he can only ever have an effective level of 32, which means that while he's a pretty cool guy, you really don't want to do this, but you don't have a choice. Now, you may notice Wallace has 30 HP already, which is actually kind of amazing, and now he's a general, which means he's going to get even better defense and HP. But as you can see, his skill and speed is fairly low, but 17 defense and 34 HP means he is now tanky as shit, which means he can take about just anything on the enemy team. Now, there is a disadvantage to classing up. Once you class up, you're treated as an upgraded unit, and any unupgraded units are going to get you much less experience. So, if you rely on Wallace as a crutch character, yeah, you'll be able to get through stages fairly easily, but once your crutch kind of starts to get weaker, you're not going to be able to take things as well. There's usually one of these in every game, and it's generally a paladin. In this case, we'll see the paladin in Elwood's story. But for Lynn's, Wallace is really your first introduction to a character like this, and Wallace is powerful enough and cool enough that you'd probably want to use him. That being said, don't do it. God, that really did run on, didn't it? Sorry about that, everyone. Anyway, getting on to the fight, what we're going to do first is the Fog of War is not actually going to appear for the first turn, but there are going to be plenty of Cavaliers up near this top area. Additionally, there are going to be bandits spawning from the mountains, and there are going to be, I can't remember what, spawning from over here. So, to begin, we're going to be sending Sane up top with a lance, and the same for Florina. She's eventually just going to fly over the center of the level and go straight into the enemy forest, but I'm a bit scared of archers, and I can't remember if any spawn, so I'm going to wait until I have more units over there to be able to do that. Now, this guy's pretty cool. He gives us a torch. Alright, and this guy's kind of awesome. They're all believing that we're the correct and rightful heir, and he gives us a torch for it. Forget the rest of the thing, just here's a torch. Now, torches increase your sight radius in Fog of War by... I can't even remember. It's something ludicrous. If you use it on a thief, you will have more vision range than you know what to do with. Well, I don't know, maybe you will know what to do with it. I can't speak for you. But the point is that once you use a torch, you can have a lot better opportunities to see through fog and do that sort of thing. So if you send someone with a torch to the north side of this level, and you send Matthew with to the south, you'll keep vision well enough that you won't really have to worry about anything. Now, we are going to keep Lynn down at this bottom part of the level, because she's going to be taking on the bandits that spawn out of these fortresses. Kent is going to move over here, because he's fairly useless and I don't really want to use him that much. Something to be careful of, though. If you stick Lynn here, yes, the enemies move one mountain per turn, so they'll attack her when they get here. But they're also going to have a lot more dodge ability, since the peaks have 40 avoid and 2 defense. So luring them out is usually a bit of a better idea. I'm just putting her there for now, because evidently I'm not thinking, but... you want to generally stay away from that sort of thing, and Lucius is going to stay with Kent since I really only brought them along. Okay, so there are archers. Archers spawn at the top right, bandits in the mountains, cavaliers in the middle of the forest. Alright, we're gonna have to remember that, because those enemies are going to spawn continuously for the next couple of turns. Of course, there's no... See, look at this. Will is incredibly accurate, and he only has a 48% hit chance against an enemy that really can't attack that well otherwise. So having Florina sit up here by this, and then having Sane wield a sword and stick nearby the enemies in the mountains, is going to allow me to take them on as they arrive. And I just completely forgot to attack the Caelin soldier. So he's going to attack Will next turn. That's okay though, I'll just send Kent up. He should be able to help out a little bit. I'm going to have Lynn move to this forest here. The enemies will still have a forest to be in, but it's better than nothing at all. Or even better, could I just... I'm gonna have Nils play, because there's no reason not to, but what I think I'm going to do is, looking at the enemy's attack range, he's actually able to move an extra space out from right here, so if I... if I put Lyn on this lower forest, he should just move on to these plains and immediately attack her. Because enemies will always take the first available attack, even if it's not the wisest attack. Now, Urk should be able to easily take out this sword user, and then I can send Matthew in to take out the axe-wielding unit down to the south. He's going to have to be a little bit careful of this cavalier, especially because he has a lance, but he can't make it there this turn, and this bandit is going to be able to make it. Where do we want to put him? Right here is actually a great spot. He's at full health, right? Yeah, good. Alright, so Matthew's there, enemies have spawned. There's a Myrmidon here, and Myrmidons are a little bit dangerous because they have natural crit chance and extremely high skill and speed, albeit at the price of slightly lower strength. So you want to send something with fairly high defense over there. You could send Wallace in, but again, don't do that. It's a bad idea. It's a trap. But we don't have anything else to do with our units this turn, so we're going to end. Sarah's nearly leveled up again, fingers crossed for some magic this time around. And again, enemies are going to keep spawning there for a couple of turns. I can't remember if it's 2 or 3 or how many turns, but eventually they're going to stop. And that's when you're able to really move on to the boss. Until then, you're on the defensive. Make no mistake, it's a very open level, but you have to defend the hell out of this level until you get to a safer location. I really want Matthew to get some strength though. It would be wonderful if he were a usable unit, since assassins are incredibly powerful and still able to use lockpicks, so there's no real disadvantage to classing up. But if he doesn't get good strength growth in these next couple of levels, that's really going to put him at a disadvantage, which sucks, because I like him. He's a good unit. I probably should have stuck Florina a space away so she didn't have to fight people that were on the fortress, but yeah. I'll do that next turn. Now we've got some cavaliers coming in here, and I'm actually going to do a bit of a... oh, here we go, the fog. Fog of War. Welcome to, honestly, one of my least favorite mechanics in Fire Emblem. But then again, Fog of War is in a lot of games, not just Fire Emblem, so I really have no place to gripe about it. If an enemy is in the Fog of War, you can't see them, you can't fire at them. If you can see an enemy, you can hit them, but you always have the chance to run into an enemy if you try to move through the Fog of War, and promptly lose your turn. Now, I said I had something interesting to show you, and I meant it. So, really quickly, I'm going to move Lyn here. Wait, where was it? Here. There we go. The bandit should still be able to... where did the bandit go? He should have spawned there. Maybe he moved over here? I'm not entirely certain. But what you can do is, if you have, say, Lucius take away all of Wallace's weapons, he won't be able to counterattack once attacked, which means his only purpose is going to be as a tank, which is actually really useful. Because as you saw earlier, 17 defense and 34 HP, that means that pretty much nothing in the early game is going to be getting through Wallace's defenses. And even if it does, it's only going to be doing 1 or 2 damage. So what you can do is you can move someone like Matthew back, have Urk just sit behind Wallace here, and Wallace will just soak up all the hits and let Urk get free experience, him or Will if you want to move Will down. And it'll just be a really easy way to handle them. Now, naturally, the enemies are going to be a bit off since... oh, I forgot to move Florina off the... I keep forgetting about moving Florina during the turn. I've really got to stop doing that. Could result in her dying someday. Yeah, there you go. Plus, Wallace is just incredibly fast. So Wallace, if he were to counterattack, would probably be able to kill that bandit. But we don't want him to. Oh wow, that was actually a really lucky hit on the enemy's part. 34% chance to hit, and he manages to, but it's only 3 damage, so you don't have to worry about it that much. Sane is getting some fairy XP here. And as you can see, these enemies are all going to bunch up at this. You're essentially bottlenecking the rivers, just because no enemies can get through here. And bridges act as natural bottlenecks. The only enemies that can get across water, I think, are bandits and pirates. So, if you encounter a bandit or a pirate that's around one of these... oh, that's a great level up. Not skilled, but that's fine. Magic, speed, defense, and resistance is more than enough to keep him not only powerful, but healthy. Can Florina attack this guy with the Slim Lance? She can. What I'm going to have her do is use her Slim Lance and a Vulnerary here. I'm also going to try to keep Will out of harm's way in regards to this bandit. And make sure to put Sane directly in harm's way so the bandit will attack him instead. He can't attack Nils, right? No, good. So Lynn is going to move here. Nils is going to play a song for Will just so he can eventually move down and take Urk's spot once Urk gets enough levels that he's... I think Urk already has out-leveled Will, so they might want to just switch around at this point, truth be told. And Sarah will be able to heal Will up to full HP. And level up, hopefully some magic, come on, fingers crossed. Yes, that's more like it. No HP, no skill, no speed, but fine, we can deal with that, we got some magic. Good, now... Again, bandits will keep spawning to a set amount. That Caelin soldier is gonna heal, which sucks, but nothing really we can do about it. Plus, he blocked the spawn of his own ally with that lack of movement at the beginning of the turn, so... There we go. Now, Florina's gonna be more than able to take him out. The Slim Lance now doing 11 damage since he's off that fort. She does take a hit, and at not being very tanky, she is going to be fairly low now. But that's okay. Sane's still taking hits from that bandit, incredibly lucky hits, not to mention. Because what did that'd be something like an 11% chance to hit with 33 twice in a row? Or is it just a 33% chance? I was always terrible at that rule in statistics, I never quite got it. But yeah, as you can see, Wallace, because he's not attacking, is getting only 1 experience at a time, but hey, it's experience, it's all for him, so it's okay. Now, it seems like the archers are finally making their way around to this part, which means Florina is now going to have to be incredibly careful, but these guys are pretty much free experience for Sane. I'm actually going to keep Sane back here until I get better vision up there, though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Florina move over and then use the torch. Since she can fly, she'll be able to position herself somewhere in the mountains, which is going to be the best position to see around here. Not to mention, since she should be out of range of the bowman here, she should be able to stay fairly safe. Yeah, there you go. As you can see... Alright, so Kent's going to have to move there since apparently that is well within the archer's range, and Florina only has 14 HP at the moment. Now, I can't get to Florina because she's in the mountains and is completely inaccessible to my other melee units, so that was a really bad move on my part. But now, since the enemies are bunched up like this, I can have Will attack over the bridge with his iron bow, getting extra experience and even just a level from attacking. Skill and luck, Will, you continue to not impress. It is really quite staggering how much you are managing to disappoint me. But I can give Will another turn with... Oh, I can't though, can I? He's out of range. Can I give Urk another turn? Yeah, but it wouldn't do much. So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and send Sarah up to the next point up here where she'll be able to heal Florina, Sane, Kent once they take some damage from these archers. There we go. And having your healer nearby the people who need to be healed is never a terrible idea at all, so... Now, Lynn with an iron sword is more than enough to take care of all these bandits, and she's gained some fair experience right about now. Is that enough for a level up? No, she already leveled up just previously. It's only 8 experience per bandit though, just because they're so weak, so that's really not enough. And despite this lance going straight through Wallace there, it apparently didn't deal any damage. Dude does just not give a single fuck about the enemies there. So, what are you gonna do? Now, as you can see, the torch does decrease in effectiveness by 1 square each turn that it's active. So you need to kind of be wary of that. Enemies that you have just at the edge of your vision at the beginning of your turn, or at the end of your turn, will not be in vision at the end of the enemy's turn if they haven't moved. Unless they're in view from a thief, who again have incredible vision radiuses. Radii? Pronunciation, who really cares? So, Sane is nearly leveled up again, which is great. He's already level 7 almost. Lynn is level 8, Will is 7, Urk is 7. So Will is going to continue trying to kill a single unit, while Urk consistently kills one unit a turn. God damn it, Will, why are you so useless? I really want to use Will, I really do, but the stat growth is going to make it nearly impossible unless he really impresses me in these next couple of levels. Same thing for Sarah. Having a healer upgraded is usually an incredible thing, because they'll get lots of defense and resistance. But before that, they really don't have much to work with. So there's Wallace, just being a badass as usual, and blocking off this bridge. Now, I think... oh, Urk only has one use left on his fire book, so I'm actually going to have him discard that here pretty quick. Lots of people say, you keep it for when you need it, but it's in inventory space, and in this game you don't have that much inventory space, so you're going to want to discard items that you're not going to be using. Alright, now, let's see. Will can move within range of this unit, actually. He's probably going to get the killing blow here, which is good. Finally get himself some experience. Some speed would be wonderful, so he can actually start to strike twice against these enemies, but beggars can't be choosers when it comes to your archers, so... Now, Matthew's going to get vision here, showing that there is absolutely nothing. And then Florina can move over here. I'm going to lose the vision from that area, but that's okay, because I can just send Sane charging in there anyway, and he's not going to take much damage, as long as I stick him on a forest. The heal staff breaks, but I already bought a second one, so we're fine. Alright, there is that Myrmidon there, and again, Myrmidons can be fairly dangerous, but if you're equipped with a sword or a lance, you should be fine. Now, when they hit Swordmaster, that's really when you have to start worrying, but that's not going to be for a little while yet, so... no real problem. Sane gets to level 7, extra strength and skill means that he is absolutely a beast as a physical attacker at this point. 12 strength at level 7 is absolutely ludicrous, and not something you should usually have right about now. Which is part of the reason I'm so okay with keeping him this run. Paladins may not be the most useful units, but they have high movement speed and they have moderate attack damage, unless you're this guy sitting near the bottom of the map right now, since he's just a completely useless piece of crap, isn't he? Now, I can send my tank out here, and I haven't been having Nils sing for people, which is probably a bad idea. So I think I can move Lynn here and have Nils give her a tune to help her move along. Because every turn that you don't use your bard is another turn that they're not going to be getting experience, and considering you're going to need 200 turns to level them up to level 20, or would it just be 190 turns? Oh well, you get my point. The point is that they're really going to be fairly weak, and there is a secret level, as I may have previously mentioned. You need to get your bard to level 7 by the end of Lynn's storyline, but that's in Hector's story, we can't even get to it. So you don't need to worry about it if it's your first playthrough, like it is mine on this particular account. Now we're going to send Wallace in to lure one of these enemies out, and when he comes out we're going to have Will and Urk absolutely rip into this guy. Same with Matthew, for that matter. And how big is his vision radius? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Are you serious? 8? Thieves have 8 squares of vision radius in this game? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll be damned, they do. I think that got nerfed in later games then. I'm not entirely certain, but I'm pretty sure that got nerfed. Because there is no way that I remember Thieves having that much vision in later games, but hell, I'll take what I can get. Because the normal unit has 1, 2, 3. So they get an extra 5 squares of vision, which means if you give a thief a torch, you're going to have incredible vision. And actually, that's a pretty popular strategy, just to give a thief a torch and have them sitting around with it. But now my team is finally regrouping, after one team going north and one team just holding up at the south bridge. And just about every enemy is dead, so we're pretty much fine to take on the boss at our convenience. Plus, Wallace may be in bulky-ass armor, but that doesn't mean that you can't just step to the side like it's nothing when it comes time to dodge. Now, what level is Will? Will's level 7. What level is Matthew? Level 5, so I actually want Matthew to get some EXP here. Regrettably, he's kind of weak, so how can I have... Wait a minute, the one-use fire book! Alright, so much for it being useless. God damn it, Urk! Alright, so Urk gets a crit and manages to take out the enemy anyway. Yeah, the fire book broke. That's great. He decided to use most of it in the last hit, though. Alright, so I'm going to send Matthew down here, and I'm going to have Nils nearby. He's going to sing for Will for no apparent reason. Because, hey, experience. And then I'm going to actually have Matthew take on this unit next turn. Hopefully, with Nils in the area, he should be able to... Oh, we'll level up for one. HP, speed, defense, and resistance. That's actually really good. Just about every stat you would want on a bard. And now she can actually move into range to heal Nils this turn too, so I think that we have Sarah do that. And there we go. We are set up to very nearly be able to take out the boss next turn, or a turn or two after. But unlike the previous bosses, we can't just ranged attack cheese him. So you actually do have to focus on this fight a little bit. Oh, I just attacked. That was a fairly poor idea, but it's okay, because the enemy is A, going to miss, and B, not going to be able to kill Matthew anyway. Missing with an 87% chance, though. That's fairly unlucky. So I'm going to move Nils nearby, along with Sarah. Nils is actually going to play a song for Sarah, so she could have reached Matthew if he took damage that turn anyway. There we go. Ah, the little buddies with 17 HP apiece. That's absolutely ridiculously low. But it is the beginning of the game. Later in the game, that would be enough for a one-shot, but we're not at later in the game, so we don't have to worry as much about that. Matthew is going to get the kill on this soldier, which is good, and he's going to lose a little bit of HP too, which will allow us to get our cleric some more EXP. But something I want to test really quickly, but not attack with... Okay, yeah. So... Oh, wait. Okay, so that was very nearly a bad move. I do not want to move Sarah within range of this boss, since because he is a ranged attacker, he could attack right there without any issue, and indeed he would do so. There's absolutely nothing to stop him. If you were having a lot of trouble against this boss, though I couldn't imagine why, you can just use the strategy with Wallace and just sit him right in front of the boss. With only 16 attack on that or 17 attack on his axe, he can't get through Wallace's defenses at all, which means he has a completely easy level. And why I'm saying if you're having a lot of trouble is if you really have the time and you don't want to fight the boss because you have so much time, you can sit Wallace there for 40 turns until all of Eagler's weapons are damaged and dead. It's a really cheesy strat and one that I don't like using simply because it's boring, but if you're having a lot of trouble, do what you must. Now, we could actually probably have Urk kill this guy. Oh, goodness, no, we can't. Alright, so we're going to have Urk attack nonetheless. 53% chance to hit and only 13 damage means that Sarah will be able to heal Urk up to full regardless. And if Urk can deal chip damage to this guy enough that he eventually gets down to low HP, then we can have pretty much anyone finish him off. Not to mention, Urk gets 11 or 12 EXP just for fighting the boss each time he does it. There we go. Some extra experience, and then that's going to be it. I'm just going to have Urk just sit there. Eagler heals 3 HP a turn, and Urk deals 9 if he hits. He switched to his hand axe because that is a 2-hit kill, but it's also not light enough that he can attack twice. So all that means is I'm not going to have Urk on the offensive, I'm going to have him on the defensive. Additionally, if the boss ever does miss, Sarah will be able to heal Urk again in the next turn, since she only heals 13 HP. So this whole thing is actually to my benefit. Let's see how much damage Matthew does now that the boss is wielding an axe. 1 damage. So if at any time the boss gets down to 1 HP, I could have Matthew try to finish him off. But yeah, Eagler's back up to 27 HP, and this is actually just a really sort of scummy strategy, admittedly. But, oh my god, all these misses. The amount of experience that Urk would get from hitting the boss as much as he does is actually fairly notable. which is to say that just from Urk firing at the boss repeatedly, he's going to level up probably above what he should be, and then if he takes hits, Sarah will be able to heal him. Then, since the boss is healing, if you just let the boss heal up fully, you can have a lot of people do this trick and have some early levels, but considering there's an even easier leveling trick later in the game, it's probably not something you're going to be taking advantage of. So, at this point, I'm just going to be ending the turn repeatedly until Eagler finally dies. If this takes more than, say, 5 turns, I'll probably just cut the video to when this happens, but it's looking like that's not going to be the case. After all, Urk's 3 misses in a row on his chance to hit were really, really unlikely, so I don't foresee that happening again in the near future. Especially because the boss keeps landing hits with, what, 50% chance? Yeah, there's no way the boss is going to be able to get to 1 HP. Doing the math, he's going down by 9 and then up by 3 each turn, so worst case scenario, his lowest HP he's going to hit is 3. Now, notable about this fight is HP magic and speed. That's an amazing level, actually. He's kind of low on defenses, but with that much HP tank, he doesn't have to worry about his defenses as much. Now, you may be saying, like, well, PA, you're leveling up Urk a lot, you should level up some of your other units. To that I say no, I want to continue leveling this guy because, seriously, Urk is one of my favorite characters in the entirety of the Fire Emblem series, simply as usable units. Just because he is so goddamn bad. And there's the crit, just to finish him off. Alright, so Eagler, even though he fought against us, is kind enough to warn us that, indeed, it is just a matter of the fact that HP and luck, that's alright, it's kind of a terrible level though. And now all I need to do is I need to claim the throne to win. Truth be told, I probably should have had Nils dancing on each of those turns to get a little bit of extra experience. But yeah, Eagler's a pretty cool guy when it comes down to death. He dies with dignity and lets us know that the Marquess is in fact being poisoned, that all our suspicions are true, and that we really need to get to the throne as quickly as possible, because at this point it's been like 3 months that the old man has been being poisoned. So the fact that he's managed to survive for this long is pretty incredible. Oh, turns out the only reason he was fighting was probably because he had a friend or family at stake. Because Lundgren is pretty much a scumbag and will do anything to get people on his side. Now, cutscenes? The fog of war is apparently in place even at Castle Caelin, so that means this is a pretty far spread fog. Anyway, we've got the Marquess here, who's just bragging to his brother about the fact that he's poisoning him. No wonder he's been lasting so long. He's doing it to spite you, you complete jerk. God, Lundgren. What did he... Who pissed in your cornflakes, buddy? Come on, lighten up. Anyway, I think that's where we're going to cut off this episode. Next time, we're going to go to episode 10, The Distant Plains. Until then, this has been PA. See you then.